Topping today's news, a man shot and killed 2 months after his twin brother was killed in a similar fashion. Opposition parties, FNM and BCP, continue to apply pressure to the government over the controversial BPL deal, and another cohort of graduates from the LJM Maritime Academy. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It is definitely a pleasure to have you join us. Police have a man in custody for questioning in relation to the country's most recent homicide that took place on Flamingo Avenue off Farrington Road Thursday evening around 7 p.m. When police arrived, a 21-year-old man was lying in the street suffering from multiple gunshot wounds and no signs of life. Officers in charge, or the officer rather in charge of the Southern Division, Chief Superintendent Ezra Maycock, shared these details as they began their investigations.
Sometime around 6:55 p.m. this afternoon, police received information by ShotSpotter reference to multiple gunshots being discharged to Flamingo Avenue. As a result, officers responded where they met a young male lying on his back with multiple gunshot injuries. EMS was summoned, examined the victim, and found no vital signs of life. Information received is that the deceased, along with his brother, was traveling east on Flamingo Avenue, and as they approached the junction of Eden Street, they were blocked off by a blue vehicle. Two occupants emerged from that vehicle with firearms and began discharging firearms at the two males. As a result, the deceased, he fell and he was shot while on the ground. His brother was able to escape. He received minor injuries. He's assisting police with some information, also being treated for his injuries at this time.
The deceased victim has been identified by relatives on the scene as Brandon Adderley. Adderley was reportedly a twin, and his brother was shot and killed in a similar incident on Augusta Street in Bainstown on May 16th. Again, this is the 74th murder for the country this year. There were 110 murders recorded in 2023. 65% of those murders were solved. Chairman of the Free National Movement, Dr. Jcn Sands, is siding with the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, claiming the government is taking advantage of Bahamas Power and Light employees. Wednesday, the Ministry of Energy went on to defend the changes at Bahamas Power and Light, pledging to answer the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union's outstanding questions after the BEWU President Kyle Wilson threatened industrial action. In a message released Thursday, Dr. Sands criticized the deal and the lack of communication with the union.
We can confirm that the Davis administration and the PLP have demonstrated nothing but utter disrespect and contempt for workers. They took their votes and they abandoned the workers. And so the BEWU, Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, is rightfully vexed that the PLP has kept them in the dark about the secret plans for BPL. The head of one of their unions said that the deal appears to be top secret and classified, and that there are little to no details known to the union. So what is the government hiding from the workers and the country? We still don't know how many people are going to be laid off. We're seeing some funny numbers about the real valuation of the electrical grid.
Dr. Sands is alleging corruption behind the scenes of this major energy deal.
Now, on the generation side, we're about to witness the grand giveaway of a major state asset to special friends and fat cats in the PLP. Millions and millions of the people's money given away for generations. How much more can they give to one PLB who seems to keep getting more and more? Is anyone in the PLP benefiting privately from this secretive, strange, and highly irregular deal?
Dr. Sands calls the government's 2021 pre-election memorandum of understanding with a number of unions as a political gimmick, and says communication with those unions remains insufficient. Following complaints from the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union and the Trade Union Congress about the Davis administration not living up to terms of an agreement signed pre-election in the Memorandum of Understanding we just spoke about. The Minister of Labor and Public Service, Pierre Glover-Roll, said on Thursday that the Davis administration is indeed living up to its terms of the MOU it signed with the unions back in 2021. Mrs. Glover-Roll said there may be a few items still outstanding, but as far as she is concerned, the government has done an excellent job of living up to its end of the bargain, especially considering that the Davis administration still has time left during its term in office to complete the other terms of agreement. And finally, in this segment, the Bahamas Constitution Party is set to file an injunction against the Davis administration's plans to decentralize Bahamas Power and Light, transferring transmission and distribution into private companies. Today, outside Bahamas Power and Light's Blue Hill Road's headquarters, leader of the Bahamas Constitution Party, servant leader Ali McIntosh, says Prime Minister Philip Davis should take full responsibility for the decline of the power grid, as he was the Minister of Works during 2 Christie administrations.
We've named the Prime Minister as our first defendant because of the policies of Mr. Davis. As you know, Mr. Davis was the Minister of Works in the previous 2 Christie administration, and he now serves as the Prime Minister for the last 3 years. So of any parliamentarian, he has to take the greatest responsibility, seeing that he has been responsible for BEC over the last 20 years. During the time they said this electrical grid was deteriorating. So if his policy was in place, if he was doing what should have been done during that time, during his time in office, the grid would not have deteriorated at such a level that they claim that it has deteriorated, why they must make this hasty decision to give away, and we call it a giveaway of the company.
The BCP said the injunction will be filed in the Supreme Court before the end of today. The injunction has named its defendants as Prime Minister Philip Davis, the Minister of Energy and Transport Jobeth Kobe Davis, Attorney General Ryan Pender, and the entire cabinet of the Bahamas. And the injunction is on the behalf of the Bahamian people, who are the beneficial owners of Bahamas Power and Light, according to the BCP and its leader, Ali McIntosh. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.